The train conductor checked my ticket and whispered, "Don't turn around. The man in seat 12 is watching you closely." My blood went cold as I stared at the conductor's weathered face. His name tag read Klaus, and his eyes held genuine concern. "Keep reading your book," he said quietly, adjusting his cap. "Act normal. But when we reach the next station in 20 minutes, get off. Trust me." I nodded, and my hands were shaking slightly as I processed what Klaus had just told me. Someone in seat 12 was watching me. But why? I was just a software developer heading to Prague for a conference. Nothing special about me or my trip. Klaus moved on to check other passengers' tickets, but not before slipping a small piece of paper under my book. I waited 2 minutes before carefully unfolding it. Written in German, "American with backpack. Been taking photos of you with telephoto lens. Not tourist behavior." My stomach dropped. I was indeed American, and I did have a backpack in the overhead compartment. Someone had been photographing me without my knowledge. But who? And why would they need telephoto shots when they were sitting close enough to just use a phone camera? I forced myself to keep reading the same paragraph over and over while my mind raced. I'd boarded this train in Berlin after spending 3 days at a tech conference. Standard business trip, nothing unusual. So why was someone surveilling me? The train swayed gently as we passed through the German countryside. Rolling hills, small towns, everything peaceful and normal. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being hunted by someone I couldn't see. I tried to remember if I'd noticed anything suspicious during my time in Berlin. Had someone been following me? Had I said something or met someone that might have attracted unwanted attention? Nothing came to mind. Klaus made his way back through the train car, collecting tickets from passengers who'd boarded at the last station. When he reached my row again, he leaned down and spoke in English with a thick accent. "You are traveling alone, yes?" I nodded. "Good. The man has been on this train since Munich. He boarded after you, but he was already watching for you at the platform. Professional behavior. Very careful, very patient." My mouth went dry. Professional behavior suggested this wasn't just some random creep. This was someone with training, someone who knew how to conduct surveillance without being detected. "What should I do?" I whispered. Klaus glanced around to make sure no other passengers were listening. "Next station is Nuremberg. Many people get off there. Use the crowd for cover. Go to the main terminal and wait near the police kiosk. If he follows you off the train, approach the officers immediately." "But what if he doesn't follow me? What if he just stays on the train?" "Then you take the next train to Prague in 2 hours. Different route, different schedule. Much harder for him to predict your movements." The plan made sense, but I was terrified of making any sudden moves. What if this guy was armed? Klaus must have seen the fear in my expression because he added, "I will be watching too. If something happens on the platform, I will call for help. You are not alone." 10 minutes later, Klaus came back one more time and made an announcement in German that we were approaching Nuremberg. Passengers started gathering their belongings, and I could hear people moving around behind me. The temptation to turn and look at seat 12 was overwhelming, but I forced myself to keep staring out the window. Klaus stopped beside my seat and said loudly enough for others to hear, "Sir, there is a problem with your ticket. You need to come with me to resolve it." He was giving me a reason to move around the train car without looking suspicious. I stood up and followed him toward the front of the car, finally getting a chance to glance back. Seat 12 was occupied by a man in his 40s wearing a dark jacket and baseball cap. He had professional-grade camera equipment in his lap and was definitely not your typical tourist. When he saw me looking in his direction, he quickly turned to stare out his window, but I caught a glimpse of his face. Giga-Chad jawline, expensive sunglasses despite being indoors, the kind of deliberately unremarkable appearance that screamed intelligence operative. "You see him now?" Klaus whispered as we reached the front of the car. "Yes, he looks military." Klaus handed me a business card. "My nephew works for German Federal Police. If you have trouble after leaving the train, call this number. Tell him Uncle Klaus sent you." The train was slowing as we approached Nuremberg station. Through the windows, I could see the platform filling with waiting passengers. Klaus was right. There would be a crowd to blend into. "Ready?" Klaus asked. I nodded, grabbed my backpack, and followed the stream of passengers toward the exits. As we disembarked, I kept Klaus between myself and seat 12, using his bulk as a shield. The platform was chaos. People reuniting with family, dragging luggage, shouting directions in multiple languages. Perfect cover for someone trying to disappear. I walked quickly toward the main terminal, following signs for the police kiosk Klaus had mentioned. Behind me, I could hear footsteps that seemed to match my pace exactly. Not running, but definitely maintaining the same distance. When I sped up, the footsteps sped up. To see what happened next, watch the full story on my channel or linked below.